Guys, welcome back. Let's assume that there are real-life people who are slightly like those fictional characters in the Big Bang Theory. Certainly, you are not going to like all of them. And your friend might ask you this: who is the worst person you've ever met? Before answering the question, let it be clear that we are not talking about actors and their performances. Good people in real life may be cast to play the worst characters, and if they succeed in doing so, it's a win in terms of convincing performance, even though many audiences dislike those fictional characters. The most iconic mother figure in the Big Bang Theory is possibly Sam Wolowitz. We only sense her presence through her voice. Many would consider her the worst person until Beverly Hofstadter, Leonard's mother, is introduced. At least Sam takes care of and loves her son, Howard Wolowitz. Bernadette is also considered a bad person by some, though she has a sweet girl appearance and a baby voice. She is a more likable character than Amy, but she is not a good person based on how she treats Howard compared to how Amy treats Sheldon. She is hyper-competitive, has a mean girl vibe, and is becoming more and more like Howard's mother. She is also the one who likes to mimic her the most. Anyway, Bernadette might not be a good wife, but at least she is not a bad mother. It's hard to argue that there is anyone in the Big Bang Theory as bad as Beverly, not just as a mother but also as a wife. Upon the first introduction, one might falsely assume she is Sheldon's mother due to the similarity in their attitudes. Between her neurotically strict speech patterns, lack of social conventions, and attention to detail, she is basically Sheldon's female equivalent, aside from Amy Farrah Fowler, although in many ways Beverly surpasses Sheldon since he can still and does show affection to others, while she never has. Sheldon did keep in touch with her by Skype and knows more about her than Leonard does because Beverly does not want to talk to her disappointed son. Sheldon thinks of Beverly as the mother he always wanted. Sheldon is the only person she gets along with throughout the show. Likewise, Leonard told Sheldon that he does not appreciate his mom enough. In his mind, that's the kind of mother he always wanted. Mary appreciates all her son's friends knowing how hard he can be, while Beverly makes Penny cry talking about her daddy issue and makes Raj and Howard feel humiliated by assuming that they hide their homosexual feelings toward each other. They just met, and this already happens. How much do you think Leonard and his dad have to suffer? We will get there in a minute. People usually compare Beverly to Sheldon's mother, Mary Cooper. Despite their differences, they both treat their kids unfairly. Beverly disapproves of Leonard the same way that Mary disapproves of Georgie and Missy. In the Young Sheldon episode, An 8-Bit Princess and a Flat Tire Genius, Mary is not appreciative of Georgie's new job with tires, instead focusing more on academics, which is what makes her and Beverly similar. In Season 8, Episode 23, Beverly told Mary that she could not believe that someone like Sheldon would come out of her. Mary would have said the same thing about Leonard but chose to tell Beverly about her belief instead in order to annoy Beverly. She prays for God to give her a smart son, and it works. However, Mary did not write any papers or books shaming her own kids like Beverly did, let alone experiment on her son. On the contrary, she had Sheldon checked at a young age, worrying that he might be crazy and always giving him extra care, knowing how special he is. How Beverly treats Leonard can be roughly summarized in her book, The Disappointing Child. Being a psychiatrist with doctor-patient confidentiality, as heartless and unethical as it may sound, if she thinks her experiment on Leonard's infancy somehow provides valuable insight for others, she can still hide his identity and leave out a few details to protect the source. Nonetheless, she simply does not bother since he's her own child. Of course, Leonard has to suffer the consequences of her success. Even in the end, in the final season episode 17, when Leonard realizes his mother has been using him as a test subject all his life, he asks her when she will stop experimenting on him. She coldly responds, "I can't tell you, the experiment's not over," and hangs up on him. Beverly never minds spreading private information about her son to anyone and takes the opportunity to shame her husband for being broke in front of her son's friends. She told Penny about his son's private parts the moment they met, and Penny is the worst person she should give this information to. As a future girlfriend and wife, Penny takes advantage of Leonard's insecurity and makes him do anything she wants. In Season 7, Episode 4, when Penny realizes Leonard used his childhood trauma to get her into bed, she tells his mom as a way to get back at him, then lurks him by wearing the proactive dress. He was caught off guard by his mother appearing on the computer screen through Skype while undressing. As if conditional love from his own mother wasn't enough, in addition to that, he got conditional sex from his girlfriend too. Penny had dated at least 193 men and slept with at least 31 of them by the time she got Leonard, but sometimes she still withholds sex from her boyfriend for leverage. In Season 8, Episode 23, Penny comforts Leonard that he does not need to earn her love, and then she turns to look at the engagement ring that she just got from Leonard. His insecurity and low self-esteem are pretty much due to his mother's issues. This weakness puts Leonard in a terrible position in any relationship with a woman. He is often attentive toward other people, especially women. Certainly, it is a good trait in a man, but also exploitable. In his childhood, Leonard never gets to celebrate his birthday at all due to his mother's belief that parents should celebrate achievements rather than birthdays. However, that is not the saddest part. At the age of 10, he built a hugging machine to have a sense of being loved. Guess what? Even his dad used to borrow it. The fact that he stayed married till they have 3 children shows the degree of patience an anthropologist had. One might even wonder how the hell they agreed to get married in the first place. Did she use her shriek skill to manipulate Alfred to extract sperm from him? After years of being in a loveless marriage, in Season 3, Episode 11, Beverly is divorcing Alfred because he had an affair with a waitress from the Princeton University cafeteria. This is one of the few times we see anything resembling emotion from her, as she indicates she did feel something akin to grief and perhaps anger, and further characterized Alfred as a loathsome son of a bitch. They did not have a close romantic relationship. Beverly explained that she had been responsible for her own orgasms since 1982 and only had intercourse for the purposes of reproduction. Oh yes, she hadn't had intercourse with him for 8 years. So, it's safe to say the minimum number of times she slept with her husband is only 3 since they have only 3 children. It's not a surprise to anyone that her husband eventually cheats, and of course, she does not see herself as the problem. On the way to the airport in the first episode of Season 10, he can't stand a minute longer with her, and Leonard, as always, gets caught in the crossfire between the two. It's hard to believe that a person like Beverly is a trained psychiatrist, and even harder to anticipate that all her children will turn out really well. Leonard, despite her lack of appreciation, is nowhere near the failure she considers him to be. It's impressive that at the age of 10, he was able to build a hugging machine to compensate for the lack of human contact from his mother. As Leonard's father Alfred put it in the first episode of Season 10, Leonard was the best thing that came out of their marriage. If you appreciate what you see, please subscribe and like my stuff.